Welcome to The Quick Fix, a series that gives you wellness tips that are founded in research and that are practical and easy to apply in your life right now. These are short episodes that focus on all aspects of wellness: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, professional, and personal. The goal is to help you and I to live lives that are healthy and soaked with meaning and purpose. So let's get going. In this episode, I'd like to discuss something extremely important. It's impacting lives all around us, and we think of these two aspects as things that don't happen to somebody we know, somebody from our family, somebody from our team, maybe even for us. But it's there in the background, it's lurking, and oftentimes it's in plain sight, but we are just not able to recognize it. I'm talking about understanding depression and anxiety. So let's learn to start talking about these two things, these two concepts, these two states that sometimes we treat almost as social stigmas. We treat them as things we don't want to talk about because we just don't want them to happen to us or to somebody we know. We almost treat it like leprosy of the old days. But this is there all around us. And as coaches, as leaders, as influencers, parents, teachers, we cannot afford to ignore this any longer. We need to be comfortable to talk about it, and that's what I'd like. Start today, we'll start talking about and understanding what depression and anxiety is, very simple terms, and look at a very simple but powerful technique to deal with these states. So this episode will help you support someone in your circle of influence who might be dealing with the beginnings of depression or anxiety. And needless to state, it will help both you and I first help ourselves. Remember, we must first put on our own oxygen mask before helping someone else. So today I'd like to start the conversation on this topic. I'm certainly not attempting to cover everything about anxiety or depression in 10 minutes. I'll build on this subject in the coming episodes. So please subscribe and follow this channel, and do share this episode with your stakeholders so that all can benefit. So let's start. Now, one way to figure out if someone is struggling with either anxiety or depression is to listen to their self-talk. Listen to what they're talking, what they're saying to themselves. What they're saying to themselves. What are they telling themselves? Is there a change in the way they talk about themselves, their situation, their future? Has their language all of a sudden, in the recent past, in the last few weeks, are they now despairing or fretting about how their past has been, or constantly worried about the future? They're sort of negative. They have these traces of sort of helplessness or hopelessness. You'd be able to notice these changes in someone that you know. So when anxious or depressive thinking goes out of normal range, and I use this word normal in quotes. So when this anxiety or depressive thinking goes out of this normal range, out of a functional range, it starts percolating into one's soul. It starts changing the way one thinks and feels and behaves. And one way to spot this is to notice the changes in the way people around us, in the way somebody special you know, in the way perhaps I myself may start communicating. Somebody who's feeling this start putting out the energy of being helpless or feeling hopeless. And the way they behave starts reflecting this in ever so subtle ways. Nobody goes up front openly and says, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. It's usually very subtle. And if they're normally a talkative person, they become quiet. They start thinking unpleasant thoughts of what can go wrong and why things won't work, or how badly one is likely to perform, and things that can. So these thoughts about what can go wrong in the future produces anxiety. Therefore, anxiety is always about the future. We are always anxious about the future. In the same way, stories from the past thoughts about how things went wrong and how one was affected and cheated and let down and betrayed, or why things didn't go that way and my life's been so bad. All these thoughts about the past cause depression. So depressive thoughts are always about the past. We always get depressed about the past. So a clear way to understand this, a simple sort of guideline, is anxiety is always about the future and depression is about the past. And getting caught up between these two ensures that we miss the present. We miss the present, and the present really is the only thing we have any degree of influence over. So when anxious or depressive thoughts start moving into a dysfunctional range, it's always because of some fault in the thinking or some faulty ways of thinking. And it's important for us, either for ourselves or for our team members or somebody we know, for us to recognize these predominant faulty ways of thinking and perhaps call them out. Call them out for your client, for your team member, for somebody from your circle of influence. Point out that that's not really true, is it? And so I'm going to list some of the ways or these ways of faulty thinking. So these thoughts from the past or about the future are always seen from a lens of distorted reality. The event could be catastrophized. I didn't get the promotion this time, so my career is over. I'm destroyed. He or she broke up with me. I'm so unlovable. My life is over. I'll never find somebody. I'll die unmarried. I'm doomed to be unhappy. So you notice that these events are catastrophized. They are magnified like too much. Another faulty way of looking at anything is that the good in any situation is negated. So somebody will say, oh, this was only luck. It just happened. So the good in the situation is negated. Or related to this is one's own performance is discounted by oneself. And so a thought there would be, oh, actually, I was just lucky. I really don't deserve this. Another faulty way of thinking is the negative impact is magnified. I will never be able to do this again. I failed. They didn't accept me. My presentation bombed. I'll just never be able to go out on a limb again. So the negative impact is magnified. And related to this is any good is minimized or generalized. Hooray, anyone can do this. It's no big deal. I'm sure there are hundreds of others who have done it much better than I have. It's no big deal. So these are some faulty ways of thinking that sort of seep in, and then they become the default program. Then that's the only tape that's running. And therefore what happens is this faulty way of thinking ruins the present just because of the constant churning and recycling of these thoughts that don't work. And the tragedy is that these are just thoughts. They are often not reality. And so these thoughts about the past can lead to depressive feelings, and this faulty thinking about the future can lead to anxiety. And once this vicious cycle starts, the next loop is to get anxious about our anxiety or depressed about our depression. So there's anxiety about anxiety or depression about depression. And this secondary loop causes even more damage in the present moment. It causes even more damage in the present moment. And this faulty thinking, these unhelpful loops are often based on the expectation that pain, suffering, sadness, anxiety is bad. Somehow that it's not normal, it's not human, it's not part of my existence, and that a successful life must be pain-free. My goal in life is to be happy. And this expectation is fueled by media, by pop psychology, by well-meaning friends. and it robs us of the fullness of life, the entire spectrum of emotions that make up life. And therefore, we just miss out on the present moment. I believe it's even fueled even more by our obsession with Facebook and Instagram, where only happy and wonderful pictures are posted, creating an illusion that everyone else is deliriously happy and successful and looking so good and traveling and eating such great food and having so much fun. It's just my life that sucks. And that's a facade. That's a facade that we buy into. So what's the first step to start dealing with this situation? What's something that we can do for ourselves or to support someone we know to breaking out of this cycle, to start breaking out of this trap? Well, one quick way, one sort of step that you can take to deal with such trapped thinking is to learn, and you can share this for us, for ourselves, or even for our stakeholders, somebody we want to work with. The first step is to learn to connect with unpleasant, boring, disagreeable tasks or feelings or situations. To connect with them. Yes, you heard right, to connect. Not to run away, not to judge them, not to label them, not to sort of say, why is this happening to me? And not to get into problem solving or analysis no, just to connect. Connection is the process of making full contact with one's experience in the moment without any judgment, without any adjectives, without any comparison, just to notice what is happening. I'm thinking this. This thought is what's coming through my mind. Notice then the impact that this faulty or unhelpful thinking has on your feelings. I'm thinking this and it's just not making me feel good. It's not making me feel empowered, or I'm sort of feeling numb, or I'm feeling trapped. I don't feel like doing. So just notice this. Notice what's happening in your body. Notice how your breath changes. And just notice what's even not happening. If you're just feeling numb or you're not sensing anything, that's fine too. Just be aware of what's happening with you. So step one is just to learn to notice and to be aware of what you're thinking and what you are feeling. Just take a moment. Just be aware. Just notice. Now, when I say notice or just be aware, it doesn't mean that you don't take any action and you resign yourself to fate. You will take whatever actions that are aligned with your values while being accepting of the pain that inevitably comes with living a rich and full life. Yes, things have not gone well. Be okay with it. Yes, things look difficult for the future. It's all right. It's all right. Life is not supposed to be this complete nirvana state, which is demonstrated by everybody else's life on Instagram or on Facebook. That's a facade. That's a facade. Another quick technique that will help you notice and create awareness in the present moment is to breathe. Yeah, that's exactly right. Breathe. But there is a difference in the way I'd like to encourage you to breathe. So when I say breathe, breathe slowly. Slow down your breath. Slow down your breathing. Take a few slow breaths with awareness. Inhale and exhale deeply so that your exhalation is just a bit longer than your inhalation. Now there's no need to hyperventilate or overdo it or adapt some yoga pose or close your eyes. You can do something like this without anyone noticing that you are doing it. But you notice and you slow down your breathing a bit and exhale a bit longer than you inhale, and do this for 5 or 10 breaths. And there's a lot of scientific research on the benefits of this and why this happens and how it impacts the physiological, neurological systems, which I'm not getting into right now. So the idea of breathing and changing your breath to a slow, regular, deep level of breathing is to connect and to increase self-awareness so that you can accept the thinking and feeling that you are going through in the present moment. And they're like two sides of the same coin. You start with the breathing, and then you start noticing, you're being aware, and then you're accepting. It's all sort of interconnected. It's a wonderful, powerful technique. Now, be clear, it's not a control strategy to help you feel better or to get rid of anxiety or sadness. As a matter of fact, this goal to get rid of anxiety or sadness in itself is faulty. Anxiety and sadness are part of our human existence. They are the full part of our spectrum. So why fight them? Why not just experience them? Why not just learn from them? So breathe. Notice the impact of the feelings and thinking in your body and be okay with them. Be okay with them. Just start practicing these steps, learning to notice and breathing and learning to notice and being aware of what's happening. And as you do this more and more, as you do more and more of this consciously, the lock or the hold that these unhelpful thoughts about the past or future have on you, they start becoming looser. This grip of depressive or anxious thoughts gets less suffocating. And from this easier space, you can see what baby steps can help you move in the direction of your values. So let's bring it to a close. My objective today is not to cover everything that there is to know to treat this really complex phenomenon of anxiety and depression, but to lay a first step towards us getting to know these states of experience and to learn a quick tip to deal with them. Everything that I've discussed is based on sound research and practice, and in the upcoming episodes, we'll dive deeper into these very normal experiences or phases of life. So please do share this quick fix episode with people you know so that they too can benefit and be better prepared to talk about and deal with anxiety and depression. Let's catch up soon. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please connect with us on coachtoolbox@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and review this channel. Details of our ICF-approved coach training programs and our services as executive coaches and coaching supervisors are on www.globalcoachtrust.org. See you in our next session.